6 years old, eating cereal, watching your favorite cartoon, when suddenly it betrays you. Like 1 second it's Saturday morning fun, and the next you're face to face with a screaming rabbit, melting witch, or some animation director's fever dream that scarred your tiny child brain for decades. Well, congratulations. You're not alone because cartoons are supposed to be safe, right? Bright colors, silly voices, fun little animal sidekicks. But every so often, they snap, they break character, and that moment stays with you forever. Tonight, we're counting down the top 5 cartoon meltdowns that traumatized you. Donald Duck isn't just a character, he's a walking aneurysm with a sailor hat. And honestly, as kids, we didn't even question it. But go back and watch one of those shorts as an adult. Donald is constantly seconds away from a full nervous collapse. Imagine living next to this guy. Imagine being his mailman. Every inconvenience, chipmunks in the yard, his nephews touching his tools, ends with Donald literally combusting into feathers in pure rage. His meltdowns taught us two things. Ducks are not to be trusted. The human psyche is fragile. So fragile, in fact, that Disney used Donald as an outlet for repressed American rage during World War II. During World War II, Disney was drafted into the war effort, literally. The U.S. government commissioned propaganda cartoons, and Der Fuhrer's Face, 1943, is the most famous and infamous. It starred Donald Duck, not in his usual role of short tempered everyman, but as a regular German citizen trapped in Nazi society. The short actually won the 1943 Academy Award for Best Animated Short Film, but Disney locked it in the vault for decades because, understandably, showing Donald Duck in a Nazi uniform without context is dicey. Here's the thing about Ren and Stimpy. Nickelodeon in the 90s was like, kids want slime, farts, and gross faces, right? But Ren and Stimpy was different. It wasn't just gross, it was psychologically unstable. And nowhere is that clearer than Stimpy's invention. Stimpy builds a helmet that forces Ren to be happy. And the whole episode is just Ren having a psychotic breakdown while the show plays circus music in the background. By the end, he's screaming, crying, sweating, his face warping into nightmare close ups that no child should ever see. This wasn't cartoon slapstick. This was a portrait of coercion, identity collapse, and mania, disguised as a kids' show. So, you think cartoons are safe because Batman's there to keep things cool? Nope. Welcome to Feet of Clay, 1992, the two-part episode of Batman, the animated series that scarred an entire generation. Here's the setup. Matt Hagen, washed up actor, gets addicted to a weird experimental makeup cream that lets him reshape his face. Naturally, it's made by an evil corporation. Naturally, it goes horribly wrong. By the finale, he's not suave anymore. He's Clayface, a hulking sludge monster who can morph into anyone, but can't stop himself from losing control. And then comes the meltdown. In front of TV studio lights, Clayface's body goes haywire. His skin bubbles. His limbs split into nightmare versions of his past roles. His face cycles through grotesque masks of agony and rage. It's not just a villain losing a fight, it's a full existential collapse. His whole identity, actor, man, human being, melts away until he's nothing but a pile of screaming mud. And the animators, they did not hold back. This is body horror on par with The Thing or David Cronenberg, except it aired after school at 4 p.m. on Fox Kids. For a lot of us, this was the moment we realized Batman's Rogues Gallery wasn't just campy costumes. These were tragic monsters. Clayface wasn't scary because he was evil. He was scary because he was broken, and his meltdown, his literal meltdown, was the perfect nightmare fuel for a generation of kids who tuned in expecting biff, pow, and got something much, much darker.
You know what I'd have given for a death scene like this? Too bad I won't get to read the notices.
Now let's get existential. In Chuck Jones's masterpiece Duck-amuck, 1953, Daffy Duck is trapped in a cartoon where the rules keep changing. The background shift, his body morphs, his voice cuts out, and he absolutely loses it. Daffy isn't just mad at another character, he's mad at reality itself. This cartoon was basically a crash course in postmodernism for 8-year-olds. It's Looney Tunes meets Jean Paul Sartre. Watching Daffy scream at God, the unseen animator, revealed at the end to be Bugs Bunny, was both hilarious and deeply unsettling because somewhere in the back of your mind you realized, what if that's us? What if we're just doodles on someone else's sketch pad? Anyway, great fun for the kids.
We interrupt this program to bring you Courage, the Cowardly Dog Show, starring Courage, the Cowardly Dog. Abandoned as a pup, he was found by Muriel, who lives in the middle of nowhere with her husband, Eustace Bay. But creepy stuff happens in nowhere. It's up to Courage to save his new home.
But the king of traumatic meltdowns, Courage, the Cowardly Dog, a show that Cartoon Network somehow marketed to children. Despite being basically a horror anthology disguised as Scooby Doo, Courage's entire personality is just one long meltdown. He screams, distorts, disintegrates, morphs into freakish shapes every 5 seconds. And the villains? Holy nightmare fuel. The mummy demanding, return the slab. Freaky Fred's Naughty, that random CGI fetus head thing floating in the void. This wasn't a kid's cartoon. This was a collective initiation into cosmic dread. And yet, we loved it. Because Courage showed us that being scared doesn't mean you're weak. It means you care enough to fight, even when you're shaking the whole time. So, those are the top 5 cartoon meltdowns that ruined our childhood innocence. But maybe they also taught us something, that rage, fear, and absurdity are part of life, that even the silliest characters can face existential crises, and that sometimes the cartoons were telling us the truth more than the adults were.